Great. Hello. Do we have an audience? Are they on?
Yeah, you have 14 people joined.
Oh, great. Okay. It seems odd. I'm used to using Zoom, so I'm used to seeing everybody. So it's strange to not see all of our audience members. I'm Dana Lattin. I'm with the University of Kansas, KU Transition to Postsecondary Education, and the Transition Coalition. I'm here today with a couple of folks that are also associated with TPE. Brenda Aylward, who is the academic advisor, and she also wears another hat as mom of a student in TPE. In fact, that's how we met, is through her when she came to visit with her daughter, Carson, to visit KU, do the college visit and the whole 9 yards. I think it was kind of a nasty day that day.
It was. And now she's almost through her first year of TPE. So it's been a fun ride for sure.
Yep, an interesting one some days, especially during COVID. Also, who's going to join us, and they're having a little trouble getting on today, is Tanner Daniels, and he's an alumni of TPE. And Drew Rosdell is helping him get on the website now. It has been a little in a lot of emails, so we'll reintroduce Tanner when he's on. What you're going to see is a little bit of information, just like admissions does. And so you're going to see a little bit of that as we've used that as a template for today's presentation. We got to start with the fight song, right? So, sorry, Brenda, for those of you who have graduated from other universities in the state. But we do talk about TPE as learn here, live here, love it here. A little quiz, and you guys can just post your answers in the chat. Do you know what the most well-known graduation ritual on graduation day is at KU? And we are coming upon that quickly again this year. Who did this? Walking the hill, yes, Kelly, absolutely. Think about, we like to start with the end of that is graduation day. It's really complicated this year, as you can imagine, since everything is. And they're doing multiple graduation sessions. But our students at TPE participate in all of the same rituals and experiences that any student at KU participates in. And this is where we want to get in 2 years, when we want to help our students achieve that and achieve the same outcomes, many of them that broader outcomes that any typical freshman at KU or undergraduate at KU does. So thanks for playing along. We'll have a few more of those, so we'll be able to tell you, get your knowledge. Just a quick overview of TPE. 4-semester program. Hey, Tanner.
Sorry, we had some technical difficulties.
I know it is complicated getting on. Tanner, we were just getting started, but I wanted to circle back and introduce you.
Hi, my name is Tanner Daniels. I am an alumni of KU TPE program, and I am from the class of 2019.
Awesome. And Tanner, you were there, when was your freshman year?
2018.
2017. 2017 to 2019, right? Yep, 2 years. Okay. And Tanner's going to give us from his perspective as a former student through each part of our presentation today. So back to the, thanks, Tanner, and we're going to mute ourselves if we're not talking, just so that we don't accidentally pick up background noise and stuff. Thanks. Semesters, we don't have summer with COVID, but I think we're going to be continuing it.
Dana, this is Stephanie. Dana, can you hear me? You keep breaking up.
Oh, I wonder if it's my, okay, am I still breaking up? Am I breaking up now?
Not at the moment.
Okay. If it continues, let me know. And just jump
Will do.
in. Okay, thanks, Stephanie. So they work toward an undergraduate. It is an official, one of the many official certificates of study. Students are required to meet. They are just like any program. Any college program, they have to take some certain courses. They have to fulfill so many electives. And so many course type requirements. So an example, and we'll get into that a little bit with the academics, but an example is they have to fulfill a communications requirement. And that can be a number of different courses fulfill that requirement. All of the KU courses are credit-bearing courses. At KU, no one, disability or not, no one can take and can audit courses. When we first got the grant to build this program, that made us a little nervous because so many programs across the country are audit. KUID carrying students, they get all of the benefits that go with that. They pay tuition and fees just like everyone else. And their courses are for credit and for a grade. It goes onto their official KU transcript, as does their undergraduate certificate. So that is something that I think sets us apart from many of the programs. There's about 300 across the country, and not all of them have that level of believe it or not, you know, we're a big university. There is a program process where you have to put together a whole proposal. It has to go through a level of different committees and review for approval, and TPE certificate has done that. So we are quite legitimate.
Dana, I don't know if it's just me or Brenda, do you hear her breaking up?
Yeah, it is breaking up a little bit.
Okay, I'm gonna drop, let's see if I take my headgear off. Does that help? Can you hear me now?
I'll let you know if, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. See.
Career development, we have a staff person who's a career advisor. Her background is as a voc rehab counselor. And we align a lot, everything that what we do aligns between academics, career, and student life. I kind of call that, if you think about a Venn diagram, it's that sweet spot in the middle. And we think about not only the alignment of that, but the overlay of all of those three areas. And Tanner's going to tell us a little bit about how that impacted him personally. We use the KU Student Access Center. Another unique thing about KU is that students in TPE get all of the and supports that any student with disability on campus has access to. The student access, again, other programs don't have that. More, I've been since day one. We also think about not just making adaptations for students, but really broadly in terms of diversity and inclusion and equity, which is a focus on days. How can we help faculty and programs address that through UDL, which is University? How do we help improve the whole climate so that fewer adaptations and accommodations are needed, because we're building those learning curb cuts. We're helping those instructors develop assignments and
Nina, you're still breaking up.
Okay, well, I really can't, I don't know what else I can do about it. I've done
Drew?
all my.
Dana, do you want to try leaving the stage and coming back? I'm sorry, I don't know why this is happening.
And I'm using my, let me check and make sure I'm using my, okay. So when I leave and come back, am I leaving the room or am I leaving the whole top in? Like, do I have to
No, you'll still be in the same room. You just click the leave button in the upper right hand and then click join again. Sorry, everyone. Okay. Do you want to try? Okay, yeah.
Okay, so now let me make sure, well, no, I can't see how to fix my audio settings. Okay. Finally, then we work with the Student Access Center on creating, working with students to accommodate, what? Click twice to minimize video. It's giving me all kinds of, okay. That's a new one. Okay. For accommodations, and then we work with instructors and students on an individual level to create any adaptations that are needed. And we'll talk a little bit about that process. And then, quite frankly, we use peers that don't have intellectual disabilities. I call them the grease on the wheels. They are the ones who show students, you know, how to approach big academic projects, how to study differently at the college level, help them connect with the over 650 or 700 student organizations and clubs on campus, et cetera. Am I still breaking up?
Better.
Okay. 5 minutes. We have a long.
It was amazing to see the change KUTPE has brought to my life. I'm doing all these things that normally my parents would have done for me, but I'm figuring it out on my own. So I'm feeling independent.
KUTPE is the first fully inclusive program in the state of Kansas.
I don't like it. It's a very big campus and you can easily find things with people's help. You can easily ask people for help.
KUTPE stretches their independence more than they can even imagine.
In this program, it's more of an acceptance of where you really are. It's reality.
The things that she has learned in just this short amount of time are priceless.
Oh, I'm going to a huge school. I don't know anybody. I have to figure my way across campus by myself.
She really took pride in being independent and doing it on her own.
Also an article that's in the Kansas Alumni magazine from this fall about TPE. To look at it, some of the students and the graduates of TPE. Some guiding principles. We start with KU first. We're not going to create separate programs, separate experiences, separate elements, but go and support the units on campus that are already there, that already support students on campus. We do have program expectations, and I say they're high. We want to challenge students with the necessary supports. College is hard, and it should be a challenge for everyone. And so we keep that in mind. We do a lot of I do, we do, you do through coaching. Brenda does a lot of that in particular. I'm gonna contact your instructor. I'm gonna bring you along with us. Next time you're gonna be contacting them, I'm gonna help you craft that email if you need to, or I'll attend the meeting and we're gonna practice what you might talk about, and then you're gonna be on your own doing it. And I'll be here to support you as needed. We do what I call 2-by individualization. So for the adaptations, we look at the course and what the course contents are and the actual student and what their needs are. Not every student gets every adaptation in the same classes. It makes for a heavy load for us, but it does not, it's what is best for students. Again, we talked a little bit about UDL, accommodations and adaptations. And then I talk about that college is a place for all of us to learn to make mistakes. And we all need to be given the opportunity to make those and to learn from them, because some of the best things that we've learned as individuals come from making a less than best decision, or a decision that we might rethink differently the next time. So we don't want to deny students that opportunity. We do not, we try to do what we can to keep from catastrophic things, that's for sure. But I like to say the safety net is a bit lower than in high school. Just a quick, I hope you catch this. This was a professor, a theater professor, talking about how having students in her class with different abilities really makes that move from the classroom to take those experiences for students who don't have intellectual disability beyond their classroom and in their lives. So the richness of not just students with disabilities, but for anybody on campus. Some of our outcomes, we kind of beat the national percentages. I will just toot my own horn on that one, or our own horn, not mine. National statistics for students that have paid jobs is 47. TPE, we have a 58% rate on that. In TPE, students living on campus, they are not required to live on campus. Tanner did. He's going to talk a little bit of that in a bit. But 50% of our students have lived on campus thus far. Nationally, that's 21%. Not every program even offers that opportunity. Not only that, but students at TPE can live in a variety of dorms that suits their needs, and they can have a roommate that's in TPE. Sometimes we only have one male right now, so that limits that based on that issue. But also, they can go potluck and work and have a roommate with someone else on campus. Finally, inclusive coursework. This is where I think we have really take a lead in the field, and that is 94% of all credit hours that students take are completely inclusive. We have one credit hour, which is in the course catalog. Anybody can take it, but at this point, only TPE students have enrolled in it. So we've got to move that needle a little bit, but I'm pretty proud of that 94%. We've had 15 graduates, 29 students. Does everybody else hear that music? I don't know what that's from. Oh, good Lord. I'll have to remember to shut that one off next time. For outcomes, we have an 83% graduation rate. I will say that KU's is 67% over 6 years. So that's pretty proud right there. Continue to college 71% have paying jobs a year after they graduate. I will tell you, and those paying jobs are in continuing competitive integrated employment. We do not promote job sheltered work at all. In fact, we're not supportive of that, and we promote for students to be working in a career area. So I will say, the last time I did some statistics on this in Kansas, about 13% of young adults with intellectual disabilities were in competitive wage. They were working at least 20 hours a week, and they were working alongside primarily people who did not have abilities. I'd say 71% is a pretty darn good number compared to that. Academics. Tanner, tell us a little bit about your experience with classes and coaching and all the things related to academics at KU.
Sure thing. The curriculum experience at KU helped me develop my life skills that I needed to be successful. I enjoyed classes, which included some with small number of students, and others also had large lecture format classes. One of my favorite classes was Georgia 121, where I was able to set the grading curve on one of the exams, and I was happy with the selection of courses that were available to me.
Thank you, Tanner. Yeah, you have students at KUTP have quite a few. I mean, all sorts of classes. Anything that any other KU student would take, it's available to them. And I'll introduce myself again. I know Dana mentioned my name before. My name is Brenda Aylward. I have been the academic advisor for the program now for a couple of years, and my daughter Carson is almost through her first year in TPE. So this year I'm wearing actually a couple different hats. Thankfully, we have another staff member that does all of her academic advising, so her and I don't have to get into that together. But it's been, a great experience, and me as a mom just having to learn to step back and let her, let her do her thing and learn those lessons on her own. So, and I can talk a little bit more about that as we go. But so our program we use a program of study. As you can see, it's up on the screen. We have students take a total of at least 24 credit hours, and that's 6 credit hours a semester. Within our program, we have the 4 required courses that students take, and that's UNIV 101, which is kind of an overview of college life and KU. And then we have a communications elective like Dana was talking about, and a health elective that students have to take. And then as well as an EPSI course, which is just very heavy into career self-exploration. I think it's a great course. I wish I would have taken a class like that when I was in college. Along with 6 credit hours, our students take a work-based learning every semester, and like Dana said earlier, all of these courses are for credit. They get a grade, they go on their transcript, so it's just like every other KU student. And like Tanner said, yes, all sorts of different classes to take here. Tanner, which one did you say your favorite was?
121, the one I set the curve on.
Yes, the one that you set the curve on. Pretty impressive that you got the highest score on that exam. So Geology 121, Life Through Time. That sounds interesting. I don't know that any of the students have taken that recently, so we'll have to talk about that one. And so my role as academic advisor, I get to help students choose their courses based on their program of study and what their career goals are. I also meet with students weekly, and in those meetings, we do a lot of problem solving. We plan out assignments, break down assignments. We do a lot of calendar work. So do that, and then I also oversee the academic coaches, which our students meet with for at least 3 sessions a week, 2 hours at a time, and those are run by those KU students, and they are there as support and again to help them with study strategies and more problem solving. And like Dana said earlier, we start with what KU has to offer. So by law, you know, any student with a documented disability receives accommodations, and of course the students have to ask for those first before they can receive those. And so those, you know, can include anything from extended time on exams, taking those exams in an alternate location, note takers. You know, some of our students, it is valuable to them to have another person in class take the notes. So getting a note taker secured, preferential seating, that's an example of an accommodation, you know, sitting at the front of the class to minimize distractions. Another one would be omitting those, you know, spelling errors and not grading, you know, the student against on those. And as you can see here, here's some examples. An example of an accommodation there on the left would be a note taker in class. And then on the right, that would actually be more of an adaptation. And sometimes we'll do those for students when they're in a class that has just a lot of notes to take. So we'll give them copies and then, you know, just do a guided note type of document. So then they're just filling in and being able to follow along and not getting so far behind trying to write down every single word. All right, Tanner, do you want to kind of talk a little bit about the career side of things here at KU and what your experience was?
I have a love of prehistoric creatures, so I was able to get an internship at the National History Museum and also intern within the paleontology department with Dr. Burnham. And the skills I learned at KU have helped me become a successful employee at Hy-Vee since my graduation.
That's right. So Dr. Burnham that Tanner mentioned, he's like, for those of you who may not be familiar with Lawrence, he's the dinosaur guy. He goes and digs them up all over the country. So having an opportunity to intern with him, the dinosaur guy, for a guy who really likes prehistoric geology and things like Tanner, that was quite an experience to have related to his career and personal interests. Let's see, let's click this over here. I have too many screens. So kind of the career development components we address, you know, like I said, career and integrated employment or competitive integrated employment is the goal. We do a whole lot with the career development process. Our internships are specific to each student, which again is a heavy lift. But for students who want to work with young children, we find internships that are with young children. We have students who aren't interested in little preschoolers. They want to work with elementary age students. So we connect them there. We have a student who really loved sports and also wanted to work with kids like in a Boys and Girls Club type setting. And so he had an internship with Boys and Girls Club, and he had an internship that turned into a paid internship with the KU baseball program. The picture of the young man on this screen, you know, one would think that maybe he's working at a greenhouse, and he is, but he's actually working at a lab on campus. And there was like those scary plants that are there, but his job was to, you know, that's a research lab. So it's researchers that, you know, botanists, and he was working as a student hourly with other students maintaining the health of those plants and meeting the requirements that the researchers had identified. So following a really strict regimen that the researchers identified. So I like to point that out. Students also come to us and say, you know, great getting an internship, and sometimes that takes a little bit, but my mom and dad said I have to put gas in my own tank and I got to pay for my own pizza habit. So I just need a job. Right? We all had those jobs where you just had to like have some money in your pocket to cover some things. So we also help students find student jobs, and that's how we discriminate between career internships and student jobs. Sometimes they become one and the same, which is the best situation.
Dana, can I jump in real quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I was just going to mention, like I said, my daughter Carson is in the program, and you know, before she came to KU, I would get on her. I'd say, you need to look for a job. Let's look for a job, and I would have to kind of get online, and we would go through, and it just seemed that nothing would ever really materialize. Well, I don't know what it was about working with Natalie, Natalie and Brenda, our career advisor, and Brenda, who is our job coach. But Carson actually had just been working so hard on Indeed, applying for jobs, ended up getting an interview with Panera, and got a job. So she's working at Panera. She had other calls for interviews. I think them just show, maybe it was because it wasn't me nagging her, but I think, you know, Brenda and Natalie did such a good job and kind of showed her the ins and outs of how to find a job and what websites to use. And, you know, it was just great. Carson was so proud of herself, and she's been working there now for 4 months. So it's been great.
And what was your role, Brenda, as mom in those, helping her with the job?
I stepped back. I really didn't have a role. You know, she impressed me in the fact that she would tell me, well, I've got this, I applied for this job. Panera called me. I'm going to have an interview. Really, I just kind of helped her look at her calendar and figure out when the interview would fit in. So it was kind of nice.
Nice. So you got to be the mom and not the job coach and the job developer. So that's great. I would like to point out too, Carson's actually expanded her job. They're moving from filling orders to work in the cash register at the front. So, and her career goals are related to working in the medical field. And so she's taken coursework and things that relate to that, and is going to be has participated with a club on campus. It's like pre-nursing. So this is a job for her to make some money. It's not her career aspiration. So I just want to kind of point that out. Maybe it turns into one until she gets on her career path better, but that's how we all kind of operate. Just around our career development, again, they do a lot of exploring careers. Like Brenda said, creating that resume, refining it, that takes a lot of work, as you know. Tracking down those references. Anybody who's worked with a young person who's 16 to 22 on building a resume and all the pieces and parts that go with it, creating those template letters so that they can just fill in the blanks and really crank out those job applications. We know finding a job is a job in and of itself. So helping them develop some skills and some competence in that. Working to collaborate with employers. We do a lot of job development work where just reaching out. I was just talking with Natalie today. She's reached out to HR at Garmin. We have a student who we think would have a really good skill set in testing software and applications. And she reached out to Garmin to see what does that mean? Is there an internship possibility? What kinds of training can we provide for her? Just to start that conversation. And it was really positive. And there's actually an office here in Lawrence for doing some of that software testing. And that's just one example. We do a lot of facilitating communication, again, using that I do, we do, you do, so that we're showing students how to do it and we're coaching them and we're helping support them to do it themselves, but not doing it for them all the time. I say teaching expectations for job performance, but we all know we can talk to people until they're blue in the face, but until they're actually experiencing it and you're taking advantage of those teachable moments. So we try to use a lot of those teachable moments. And then teaching students to advocate their support needs. Man, that is so exciting to see happen, even on small levels. You know, we have one student who was has really been, someone has advocated on her behalf, some confidence, and she worked alongside a peer that doesn't have disabilities, but who understands that advocacy, and she taught her the most on how to do it and to support her to do it. It wasn't a staff person. And now she steps into that on a regular basis. And when she doesn't have access to a building or struggles with some issues related to that, she's completely appropriate in her approach, and she knows who to contact, and she can reach out and do that, maybe just with a little bit of support and help. So that is successful for sure. Here's just a little bit about what happens during year 1 and year 2. We focus a lot on career development in year 1. We get a lot of experience, a lot of job shadows, interviews, and then really jump into some work-based learning. We've kind of shifted this. This is an old slide, actually, we need to adjust, but we realized at one point that students need to be jumping into doing something job related, whether it's an unpaid internship or some experiential learning in their first semester at KU. So we've really focused a lot on that. So here's a quick trivia. On sunny days, students spend a lot of time chalking the sidewalk, meeting friends, studying. Post it in the chat. If I can get to the chat, I've gotten off the chat somehow.
Dana, a few people have said Wesco Beach.
Absolutely. That's it right there. Oh, we can know who the KU folks are. That's what they call Wesco Beach. I'm from a different state, and so when I came here and learned that they called that a beach, it was a laughable moment for me, I have to say. But it is where everybody sits out on those concrete benches and basks in the sun. So this is kind of gets into student life, and that's where we kind of capture everything else, from housing to friends to any kind of clubs and events. Tanner, can you talk to us a little bit about your experience with student life and some of the things you did related to those areas?
Yeah. So as a student, I had to learn how to maintain a schedule and navigate my class schedule. I was able to master the bus system of transportation. I lived in the dorms during my time at KU and got to know 2 roommates who were not involved in the TPE program. I also enjoyed availability of meals and drank a lot of Dr. Pepper. I was able to make my way to my favorite Papa John's, which was not far from my dorm, which was GSP. And I participated in on-campus activities, and my favorite event was a Super Smash Brothers gaming tournament.
Held at the union as part of student union activities.
All right, we'll talk a little bit about student life. So our social advisor uses Rock Chalk Central with the students to kind of explore all the different 600 to 700 clubs that are on campus. So there truly is every something for everybody. We also have peer mentors who, like the academic coaches, are other KU students who are kind of paired with one of our students based on, you know, some of their same interests. And so they meet with our students once a week, you know, start by just maybe going for coffee or ice cream. And, you know, they're there to help support the TPE students in maybe checking out a club that they're interested in. So they may go for the first 1 or 2 times, and then if that student's feeling good about it, then sometimes the peer mentor drops off and that student's independent, goes on their own, kind of finds their own group of people there. Or, we've had instances too where the peer mentor is interested as well, and they go together, and that's something they do, every week together. They go and be a part of whatever it might be, the swing dance club or the Catholic Center on campus. And like I said, our social advisor meets with students weekly as well to kind of see how things are going. And that could be anything from, are you getting to classes on time? Are you putting in enough time in your calendar to walk to the classes so you're not late? What are you finding? What are you doing on the weekends? So it's been really great to see our students kind of do their thing. They all have different interests, and they're all kind of finding out what those are. And my own daughter found a group in the fall. It's a women's ministry group, and she's been enjoying that. They've been meeting over Zoom. I know they all want to be meeting in person, but they've been meeting over Zoom and making it work. And she actually, this Saturday, they're doing a photo shoot at the park in Lawrence. So they're all pretty excited to get to be in person, still be safe, but get to see each other in person. So she's looking forward to that. So it's been pretty cool to watch that come full circle.
I will say it's a little bit overwhelming sometimes at KU with all of the things that you can do. Whether it's a big event with SUA, whether it's with a club or a faith-based organization. There's also professional groups that are aligned to students who want to be in pre-nursing. There's art, performance, music. There's just everything. So sometimes it's just a little bit overwhelming to boil it down to, but you find the focus here is to help them find their people, right? To find that group that has the interest that you have. There's also things to do. Do you want to talk a little bit, Brenda, about the movie night? Put your mom hat on and tell us a little bit about that, because I think that's a really poignant.
Yeah. So in the Daisy Hill, so the kind of the big complex of dorms, well, I guess that's through student union activities. They would put on every Friday night something going on at Daisy Hill. One night it was a movie night, actually, over, I think it was the Lead Center, maybe in the parking lot. They had set up a movie night, and Carson was so excited. She wanted to see if she could get the car for that weekend, because she does drive. And so we brought it over, and she had, taken upon herself to reach out to some new friends to see if they wanted to attend that movie night. And they had planned out they were going to go get snacks and drinks. So they went to Dylan's that afternoon before. I think it was a Saturday night, and they had a great time. So it was pretty awesome to see, because we had talked to her. We're like, if you want to go do things, you need to be the one initiating. There's not always going to be people initiating, so you need to be the one to ask your friends, go find something to do. And she was so proud of that, and I hope they do a few of those. I think they will as it gets nicer here as the semester winds down. But the Student Union Activities Board does a great job, and they've done a great job this year of being more creative in the ways that students get together and have those activities to do during the week and on the weekends. So a little bit about KU housing here. Tanner, that guy looks like you. Is that you in the picture?
It's me.
So can you tell us a few things that you really enjoyed about dorm life?
It was pretty cool. I had independence. I was able to go to bed when I wanted. Basically, I had to
Wake up when you wanted.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, it was pretty fun.
So, just a little bit of information here about housing on campus. I think these ranges also include all the meals and everything. So, and that would be for the entire year. And I know Luke runs a great webinar every spring, very informational for TPE students who have been admitted to kind of go through the different options and all the different, add-ons. And so they can also, TPE students, they can choose, do they want to live with another TPE student? Do they want to go potluck? Or do they have a friend maybe from high school that they want to live with? So we've had students do every version of that. And here is a sample student schedule. So as you can see, TPE students are pretty busy, but they're not, it's not like it is in high school where they're busy from 7 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. As you can see on there, we build in time. So then that kind of forces them to manage their time. Okay, I have a break on Tuesdays. Maybe I'll go text some friends and meet for coffee at McLean's. So, just getting them to think about filling their time is what we do. So, and then a little bit about admissions. I don't know, Dana, if you want to talk a little bit about admissions.
Just real quick. So I just want to make sure that students pay tuition and fees for the classes they take, just like any other undergraduate student. It's about $2,530 a semester for the minimum of 6 credit hours. We have students taking up to 8 or 10 credit hours too, so it moves with those numbers. Out of state is about $5,900. There's also a program fee for being part of TPE. We are all we are not paid for by the university at all, so we don't come as part of those services. It is a separate fee-based program. So it is, I'm sorry to say, it is $6,000 a semester. Hopefully we will have some additional options for decreasing that in the next few years. But at this point, that's not. If you look across the country, any programs that don't have a grant are in the same boat, and we're pretty comparable to them. And I would say for the $12,000 for those 2 semesters, or for a year, you get a transcript out of it, which a lot of them don't have that option. So thinking in terms of the return on your investment is something to think about. There is an enrollment deposit. We are qualified for students who qualify for financial aid. So that's another feather in our cap. And there are scholarships, and we certainly look and help you think creatively about some scholarship opportunities. We include a lot of those resources on our website, but as different students come about, we help them think about all the different things that might improve that or change that for their own situation. For example, we have students who are a military family. They're from out of state, but because Kansas Regent schools don't charge out-of-state tuition to families that are in military, that adjusts that tuition cost. So all those types of things. So we work with families on. College is expensive, and we certainly understand that. I have one in college currently, and I've got one going in a year, so I can totally relate from a personal perspective. Our applications are due, they're usually out. We're going to have one out early this year. I believe it's going to be out in July when KU's application is out. And then others are due in early January every year, because then we do interviews, and then we make decisions in early February. And then by mid-February, if you're admitted and you're coming, then starts the process of onboarding and housing contracts, which tends to be a tight timeline, and other things.
Hi,
So
Dana, there was a quick question about tuition fees. As far as out of state, is there a partnership with Missouri, or are they considered out of state like the others?
I hesitate to say anything I don't believe there's any partnership at this point. I believe they would be out of state, but we can meet with you individually and dig into that. So I think it's just like any other Missouri resident at KU would pay out of state, but I can certainly look into that more if you want to email us. We do have to have documentation of an intellectual disability. We recommend you do that, send that to us or communicate with us on that beforehand. Before you I'm almost to the point of saying everybody has to visit schools, go do college visits, just like any other student. Come to KU, we send you through the KU does it really well. Their visitor center is amazing. We say go do that, they schedule separate tours. We do it part of the KU visitor program, but I recommend everybody go visit those, go talk to them. Everybody has different things to bring, and not every school is the best match for every student. And I know over time, we won't do the trivia, but as you all know, you know and Tanner can too. Here's our contact information. Be sure to follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Get connected with us on you in person. Thank you. And my apologies for the technical problem.
Thank you. I posted in the chat, there is a keynote happening at noon at the main stage, and you can get to that by clicking on the sessions tab and then clicking on main stage. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.